holders. I have quite a few that I would like to show off. Okay, this is the first one. I made this for Valentine's season. So I just cut out my little squares, and when I cut out my squares, I normally pin them from the center. I line up the seam in the middle and the other row, and then I line them up and pin them out from the center to the left and then the center to the right, like that, or whichever way you want to do it. So yeah, this is my little one of my patchwork pot holders that I made for Valentine's season, and then I did the horizontal, nope, diagonal micro quilting line. So I just normally use the painter's tape to make the first row. So I would have laid the painter's tape diagonally to make the first diagonal row, and then use that uh, line to make the rest of the line. So yeah, this is my first little patchwork pot holder that I want to show off. So this is the front, and these are the mitered corners. So with this one, I started the binding strip on the front. Nope. I started on the back and finish it on the front, but you're supposed to start it on the front and finish it on the back. And then this is the back. And I just bought, what I did was just buy a collection of Valentine's Day fabric, like I think it was a bundle of half yards, and then I just used it to make the Valentine items for that season. But yeah, this is the first pot holder that I'm showing. So it's just squares and with the diagonal micro quilting lines. Okay. The second one, this is the second one. This is the second pot holder. Hi everybody. This is my second pot holder that I want to show off. So for this one, I just cut a little squares that I had. Well, I went to the quilt shop and bought some Christmas prints and then just sewed this together. And normally when I sew my pot holders together, I start from when I sew my rows together, like I just said, I start from the center out high, and I pin from one side, from the middle to the left and the middle to the right. Okay? And then as far as my quilting lines, in this one I just use circles, but I know some people feel like it's kind of hard to some people feel that it's kind of hard to sew circles. So what I do is print off some circles and print it off on cardstock, and then I lay it down on put some painter's tape on the back and lay it down and sew around it. So then, as you can see, what I did was take the print off the circles in different sizes. So it's one circle would have been this size, this size, this size, this size. Okay, so then you put the circle, put the painter's tape on the back of the cardstock. Hi. You put the circle on you put the painter's tape on the back of the circle, lay it down, sew around. So the different circles you do the same thing. Now this one is where I did do right and starting the binding strip on the front and finishing on the back. But you see this when I machine sewed the binding strip on. Thank you. When I machine sewed the binding strip on the back, this stitch line came through. So this is the reason why I went ahead and started hand stitching my binding strip on the back. So I start the binding strip on the front and finish it on the back. And this here is where I was still starting the binding strip on the front. Nope. I was still starting the binding strip on the back when I didn't know any better and finish it on the front. But you're supposed to start the binding strip on the back. Nope. I'm saying it wrong. This is when I was starting the binding strip on the back, folding it over, and sewing it onto the front. But you're supposed to start the binding strip on the front and finish it on the back. So then that's why the corners looks like this. But this look right here is supposed to be on the back, not the front. So you can see that. Okay, but if you look over here, how I started it on the front and finished it on the back, the miter corners look like they're supposed to look on the front. Okay, but like I said, the reason I started to hand sew my binding strip on the back is because when you machine sew it, this line comes through, and that's not supposed to happen. Like, so if you hand sew your binding strip on the back, because you're gonna finish the strip on the back, then this line will not come through on the front. So that's, thank you for all the hearts. Please make sure you like the video, share, comment. Thanks for everybody that stopped by this morning. So when you go to hand sew your strip on the back, this line here, it's not going to come through because you don't want that look. So technically, that kind of makes it look kind of iffy because you have all these circles for the quilting line. Then you have this mysterious line that for some reason goes around the sides. And that's not really supposed to happen. So make sure you start your binding strip on the front and finish it on the back. So this is how it looks on the back. So I really liked how this one came out. And then you can see the little, normally I do, well, I machine sewed this strip on the back, so. And then this is how it looks on the back. And this is how it looks on the front again. Okay. And again, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to show more pot holders. Make sure you all like the video and subscribe to the channel. So we have more pot holders to show. Now, I really love how this pot holder came out. And I did the same thing here that I did with the circles. You just print off some different size hearts and then print it off on cardstock and cut it out and lay it down with the painter's tape on the back and just sew around. So I just sewed around it. You know, I started from the outside and went in. So you just lay it down, sew around it, and put another size heart, lay it down, sew around it. Now the little heart in the middle is kind of iffy, but it still looks like a heart. So this is how it looks on the front. And I did my binding strip correctly so you can see the mitered corners. Sometimes my mitered corners look better in some spots than others, you know. So for this one, that one looks pretty good. This mitered corner looks pretty good. That's why you have to make sure you cut your binding strip big enough so you will have enough to fold the fabric over and make. See, that one's kind of struggling. So that's how you that's why you have to make sure that your binding strip is big enough to fold over and make the miter corner correctly. You don't want to do all the work and get to the binding strip, and then the miter corner doesn't look right because the binding strip isn't big enough. Okay. So yeah, this is this pot holder. My little patchwork Valentine patchwork pot holder. Hi everybody. Okay. And this is the back. And then I do a little whip stitch. When I fold it over and sew it on the back, I do a little whip stitch. Okay, and the next pot holder is this one. Now, this one I did 60-degree triangles. I wanted it to be a square. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted this to be come out to be a square, but as we see, it came out as a rectangle. So I guess technically, maybe I should have added a few more rows going across to try to attempt to make the pot holder be a square, but it's a rectangle. And then I did just matchstick horizontal quilting lines. And this is probably when I was still starting the banding strip on the back and folding it over to the front, but you're supposed to start on the front and finish it on the back. So, and then this is how it looks on the back, which the miter corners, I think they're looking okay. So they look okay to me. All right. This is my next patchwork pot holder that I'm showing. This is just a pinwheel. So I was just doing some patriotic 1 July 4th season. Then I did what they call concentric triangles. I'm not really a fan of how my quilting came out on this. I was just trying something. It looks okay. I've gotten a lot of views and likes and all that, but I don't really like this one. But I made it, so it's mine. And then this is when I was still starting the banding strip on the front. Nope. I was still starting the banding strip on the back and folding it over to the front. But the correct way is to start the banding strip on the front and fold it over to the back. So, and then let's look at our miter corners on this one. See, that one's, I mean, some people may, I guess it looks so far. Oh, now this is how I feel is the perfect look for a miter corner. If I make some and my miter corner doesn't look exactly like this, I feel like it's not looking like it's supposed to. Thank you from Argentina. Thank you for stopping by. See, this one doesn't look like this one. So something happened here. Maybe I ran out of fabric or something. I don't know. And then that's that. And that one looks pretty good. But the ones on these side, this side I feel are struggling. But, you know, and this is how it looks on the back. This is not one of my favorite pot holders that I made. But, you know, we take it one day at a time. Live and learn. You know, you're going to have some things you like more than other. Like, some people might like this, but I really don't like this one. But it's my work, so I'm showing it, you know. Because people have different likes and not dislikes. So, yeah, it looks okay, but it's just not one of my favorite items that I made. Okay. This is one of my pot holders I made. Now, this is before where I messed up here. I think it's not an odd number of triangles going across. So that's why it doesn't look right when you work with triangles, it's supposed to be an odd number of triangles going across and an even number of triangles going down. But I think with this one I did even and even across and even going down, and that's why it doesn't look right. But this was just a learning experience. So this is this. I think this is when I was still starting the banding strip on the back instead of starting it on the front. Let's see how it looks on the back. This look right here is supposed to be on the front. So I made this a couple of years ago, so it has a little wear on it. This one is what I made one July 4th season. This is another patchwork pot holder. Okay, here I was starting on the front and finishing on the back, so the miter corners look pretty good. Now that's another perfect one. And then that's that one, that's that corner, and that's that corner. And then this is the patchwork pot holder. And I just sewed around the outer corners for the quilting. So that wasn't too hard to do. This is also not one of my favorite pot holders. I done got so now I do not like this look on the back of my quilted items. So like I probably won't be using of this color. I don't like white fabric on the back. I don't like how it looks on the back. Like I don't like this look for my quilting lines on the back. So I've shied away from using white fabric for the back, even printed or whatever. To me, it don't look right. I don't know. Maybe it's something I'm doing, but I don't like the look on the back of my quilting lines. But again, this is another one of my patchwork potholes, and I've done videos and everything, so go make sure you check out some of my videos and get more information on these patchwork pot holders. Okay, so I'm just making a little live today, showing it off for the people who have not seen them before. And make sure you like this video, subscribe, comment, share. That I have more. This is another one of my patchwork pot holders. And with this one, I was still starting the banding strip on the back instead of starting on the front. But, you know, it still looks pretty good. Now, these are postage stamp squares, meaning the finished size of each square is a 1-inch square. So you cut 1.5-inch squares to make a postage stamp quilted item. And we can zoom in and look at the squares. And this is just a concentric square. It means, you know, how it just goes around and around and around. And you have concentric circles, concentric squares, concentric triangles. So this is just, the quilting lines is just a concentric square. And it wasn't too hard to do. And then this is how it looks on the back. Okay, this is another one of my patchwork pot holders. I just, you know, it's a 9-patch, okay? And I did it properly. Start the banding strip on the front and finish it on the back. So you can see my little mitered corners. They look pretty good. But like I said, when you're doing your mitered corners, you have to make sure that you cut your banding strip big enough to fold over the batting to make the mitered corner. So yeah, and then I just took some circles and put them on cardstock, put painter's tape on the back and sewed around it for the quilting line. And I did sew each square, one of these circles one at a time. You start from the center out and just sew your circles. And again, this is the front of this patchwork pot holder. I think this was probably last Christmas season, I'm sure. This is the back. So this is one of my favorite pot holders. I like some better than others. Yeah, so this is one. So just make sure you all go and check out the videos, other videos of the items that I'm showing you today, my other long form videos and shorts and all that. So yeah, it's just a 9 pass. Now I love this one. I could see myself making another patchwork pot holder with circle lines for the quilting, or circle for the quilting. Now these are my most recent pot holders that I've made. These are also postage stamp squares. I have videos uploaded, live videos and long form videos of these items, so make sure you check them out. But yeah, so then with this one, I made twin patchwork pot holders. So I have two identicals. So this is one. So far now I made these. These are, for now, my favorite patchwork pot holders that I've made. Okay? Yep. So these are just postage stamp squares with crosshatch quilting lines. So this is how it looks on the front. And then this is how it looks on the back. Alright, so I just came in today to show you all some of my patchwork pot holders for people who have not seen them before or are new to the channel. And this is how my crosshatch quilting lines look on the back. And then this is the front. Okay. So, yeah, so I was just showing off some of my patchwork pot holders. So these are the twins. For a final recap, this is one from last Christmas season. This is one I've made. I love this one. This one is one I made. To me, it looks plain Jane, but I made it. This one is one I made where I didn't do this one properly because it's supposed, when you're working with 60-degree triangles, it's supposed to be an an odd number of triangles going across and an even number of triangles going down. And I think for this one, I did an even number going across and an even number going down. That's why it don't look right. So if you look at this and you said something ain't right, it definitely isn't right. I did an even number of triangles going across when it was supposed to be an odd number of triangles going across. So it's 6-degree triangles, odd going across, even going down. Now this is another one of my patchwork pot holders that I'm not too particular about, but I did it, so I'm showing it off. So this is just a pinwheel. The pinwheel block is like my favorite quilt block, but here, the quilting lines I'm not a fan of. So I will say how I really feel about my creation. So yeah, this is just a pinwheel pot holder. Okay? So then this is this one. It's just triangles, and then it's like a rectangular pot holder because yeah, I was going for the square, but it didn't happen here. So maybe you can't take triangles and make a square. Maybe I was trying too hard or something. Okay. And this is my little Valentine patchwork pot holder. I think I made this last Valentine's, if I'm not mistaken. This is what I was working on Valentine's season last year. So that's one of my pot holders. And this is one of my favorite pot holders. I really like this one. It's like, it's a scrappy look, but the prints are really, it's a really good selection of prints. So it looks really good. Okay. And then when you're working with the scrappy look, you still have to have some solids in there, here and there, to give the eyes a place to rest. So it can't be too scrappy looking. So it's good to put a solid, here and there. Not all over, but just somewhere to let the iris rest. And again, this is one from something I made for Valentine's Day. And this print was my favorite print of all, so I went and got like 3 yards of it for, future projects. Anytime you see a print that you really like, or, is they said get at least 3 yards. If you really, really love, you should probably get 4 yards, because pretty much once it's gone, it's gone. So yeah, this is this pot holder. So I thank everybody for stopping by. Please like this video, share, comment, go and watch some of my other videos. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. Check you later. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Check you later.